We have possibly a controversial topic this week, but let me explain. This week we're going to talk about God. So, could very well be the most controversial of all topics because of the wide variance of opinions. It seems to me that there are as many ways to think about God as there are people to think about God. And I will start the week by saying I'm not here to preach or convince or proselytize. I'm here to stretch, suggest, and open up. I find one of the most miraculous aspects of the recovery movement, specifically the 12-step program, is their exceptionally unique take on God, and how, while the word God is mentioned a great deal in the program, in fact, it's said to be crucial that we find God, so to speak, that we are afforded, guaranteed, absolutely assured that we can seek and synthesize a God of our own understanding. And it's really, to me, it's one of the most remarkable developments in spirituality or religion or metaphysics that has ever happened in human history. And to describe human history, there are so many different gods. There are so many houses of God. There are so many conceptions of God. But for a very long time, most houses of God had a very distinct or crystallized picture of whatever or whoever God or gods was or were. In other words, hey, come join our spiritual system or our religion, whatever that is, and we're going to teach you about what God is, what God's name is, what God's attributes are, how you're going to interact with God, what your relationship as God is going to be. And we certainly love you and invite you into our group. But if you don't agree with our version of God, things aren't going to go well for you. And I'm being as polite and as sanitized about how I'm saying that as possible. I think you get my drift. The amount of wars that human beings have waged over the last several thousand years over gods or concept of God, the amount of humans that have marched in large armies across the planet to enforce or impose their version of God, it's some of the worst of human history. So, with all that being said, I think it's wonderful that right now today, September 22nd, happy fall, by the way, this day, all of us in this group, we can do what I'm going to call a God inventory. And this means we're just going to examine, consider, contemplate, think about the way that we think about God, all the way to the point of the name itself. Some people just don't like the name. Some people have a natural apathy, if not antipathy, to the name God. Other people cherish and are absolutely comfortable with the name God. You'll notice in our gathering how I use the phrase God love source, and sometimes in an amusing but hopefully honorable way, I'll say infinite higher organizing presence or principle, IHOP for short. In doing this, I seek to honor the freedom and opportunity everybody has to come up with a God of their own understanding, all the way to the name of God itself. So this week we're going to think about what we think about God. Now, I think one of the most remarkable things about God, the topic of God, is that whatever our current concept is, however we're thinking about it or not thinking about it, we can change it. We can change our understanding of God. And I think as we change our understanding of whatever God, love, source is, it actually changes our experience and can change us remarkably, radically, revolutionarily for the better. So this week we can take a look at how it is that we think about God, and we can begin to consider, are there better, more intelligent, more loving, more Are there more wise, more harmonious, and truly more dynamic ways of thinking about God? And by this I mean, God is not a guy up in the clouds or a being amongst beings or somebody who's competing with Zeus or Thor for the throne or the evil tyrant who used to bother you when you were a kid. You know, some people have that version of God, but whatever it is, you listening, you have some version or thought or concept of God. It's impossible that you don't. It's impossible that I don't, even if one rejects it absolutely. Even the famous atheist, Christopher Hitchens, he hated the idea of God. He absolutely abhorred the idea of what he called a cosmic tyrant pulling our strings. And so that's one end of the spectrum, isn't it? So I'm not here to tell you what to think about God. I'm here to ask you to consider, what do you really consider God to be? And is God maximally loving? Is God infinitely wise? Does God present absolute intelligence? Are you angry with God? Do you doubt God because of childhood cancer and school shootings? Is God only a competing power amongst other powers? Is God outside of you or above you, or is God actually within you and a part of you? Is it possible for you to achieve union, experiential, conscious union with the infinite, with God? Will a greater knowledge of God improve your life? Do you have access to God that actually helps you to solve problems in your life? A lot of people are pious and they have quote unquote God in their life, and they can't solve a single problem in their life. So does God actually move as a powerful force that helps you to live a better life? Wow. These are a lot of questions, but if we ask big questions, we'll get big answers. And so we begin the week of a God inventory, and I hope you find it stimulating, but above all, literally, I hope you find it revolutionary in your life, in that it leads to a great influx of what I consider to be God's greatest attribute, love, in your life, in my life, and in our collective life. Big topic. See you guys tomorrow.